Throughout 2014, ISIS rampaged across Iraq with their vision of an Islamic State with death and destruction. Before December, ISIS controlled a landmass larger than the United Kingdom, but perhaps just as significant, they had captured the attention of the world. They did this through a fairly sophisticated social media campaign, as a message to everyone about their intentions, and as a recruiting tool. The one part of the campaign that no one could ignore: gruesome videos. They showed such things as British terrorist Mohammed Emwazi, aka Jihadi John, decapitating American journalists James Foley and Stephen Sotloff.
I'm back, Obama, and I'm back because of your arrogant foreign policy towards the Islamic State.
President Obama responded, and 8 months later it was clear ISIS was no longer just the JV team.
We will conduct a systematic campaign of airstrikes against these terrorists. Working with the Iraqi government, we will expand our efforts beyond protecting our own people and humanitarian missions, so that we're hitting ISIL targets as Iraqi forces go on offense.
The plan was to degrade and destroy ISIS. But the effort would be limited to airstrikes because the president forswore the deployment of American ground troops. Meanwhile, the beleaguered Yazidi people had been forced to flee to Sinjar Mountain, about 10 miles away from the overrun village of Kocho. Many of their villages had been blown up by ISIS after they've left, where ISIS still controls them, so they have no place to return to. Thousands are still on the mountain. Fox News sent Benjamin Hall, journalist and author of the new book Inside ISIS, to Mount Sinjar to assess the situation.
We're driving up to Mount Sinjar at the moment. It's clear that there's been a lot of heavy fighting around here, and there's still the threat of ISIS attacks. Up ahead of us is the mountain itself, where the Yazidis took their refuge in June, and there are still many of them up there. Living conditions on the mountain provided a bare subsistence.
There are different tents. Some are very cold, some okay. In the summer it was about 50. Warm, now it's come down to 0 degrees Celsius.
Rouhani is a fighter with the Yazidi militia, the local fighting force. Her tent on Mount Sinjar was filled with family and strangers.
Some of them are my relatives, and some of them are just newcomers that we have welcomed among us. We shared the tent together.
Not all the Yazidi refugees live atop Mount Sinjar. Those who made their way off the mountain were living in newly constructed trailer parks. Most of the Yazidi women taken as slaves are still missing. Some have been able to get messages back to their people. Their plea: don't worry about our safety, bomb our ISIS captors. One of those messages:
please help us. We are raped many, many times in a day. We need to die.
And the unthinkable, a plea from an Iraqi mother that her kidnapped daughters be put out of their misery.
I have 5 girls, and they tell me, please, can you make someone kill us? Anything.
The Obama administration concedes it may take years to destroy ISIS. But Dakhil Khalaf, whom we met earlier, isn't willing to wait that long to get back his wife, sister, and children. Since his sister Nassaf was kidnapped last August, Dakhil Khalaf has occasionally been in touch with her via cell phone.
She was taken captive with my wife, and she was first taken to Tel Afar and then to Ar-Raqqa, and from there to Al-Siba, which is on the Saudi Arabian border.
Dakhil Khalaf spends his days desperately hoping for a call or text. But since late November, nothing. He can only fear the worst. As you walk down these streets, you notice each house has the same story of woe. There's a house over here in which 18 members have been killed, one over there in which 30 have died, and another where 90 members of the same family are all dead, leaving just one alive. If you walk around these camps, you see very little hope, and you see very little help.